Hi, welcome to ART169. This is a type demo specifically for Illustrator. So I have Adobe Illustrator open and we're going to look at some other ways to modify type because we're using the characters, the shape, the numerals, special symbols as shapes. So we're taking from our basic shape, circle, line, square, or maybe you did a more organic or non-representable or abstract shape. But now we are taking things we see often and making in the shapes. For set 2, it's not about language, it's not about text. We're using the letters as shapes. So I have an 8x8 document here. Just did a Command R to pull up my rulers. I tend to like to pull up my rulers, it helps me with my guides. So I'm going to open up my type tool. So keyboard shortcut T, or I could have gone, and it's both T for Photoshop and Illustrator. And as you see, my control panel, I have a fill, stroke, highlight where I can adjust stroke, stroke line, caps. I wouldn't mess with this until you're a little more familiar with with Illustrator. Stroke width, different types of width profiles, brush definition, opacity. There's different types of opacities you can play with. Again, that's more advanced. The style about it, graphic styles, which are more advanced. Character, which is our font. Click on this, it opens up our character panel, but it's actually already down there. Font weight, size, paragraph. There's a paragraph panel, left, center, or justified. So we're going to talk about point type and area type. So point type is if I just put my cursor and click, and lorem ipsum is sort of this like graphic design sort of space filler, and it often does, and it'll kind of fill it, and I can type in my name. And point type is great because I can keep typing. Goes on to the line and keeps going until I hit enter. Then it creates a new line. So that's what point type is. Area type is where you click and you drag an area, and as you can kind of see, the text kind of fills up. It defines a border for your type. Just starting off, this won't be a big deal, but something to keep in mind, and you can always switch back and forth between point and area. So I'm just going to type my name and double click to highlight it, and I can increase the size. I can type a font weights, or I'm actually going to pull out my character panel. It's actually over here. And I can play around different fonts. Now I have some fonts downloaded to my computer. Some of them are kind of like wingdings or little elements or symbols. You can definitely look at downloading fonts. They're really fun to kind of get some different ideas. Some fonts are more you have to pay for. When you get into Illustrator classes, they'll talk a lot about typography. Again, we're just kind of quickly talking about it just to get an idea. And I'm looking not necessarily for a font that really speaks to me, but something that I think I could play around with. I'm going to go Georgia. Good, nice, and classic. Samantha, that's Samantha. So now I can play around with some different things. Excuse me. So if you click on your character panel, I'm just going to click and highlight everything. I can set my font size, my leading, which is sort of like the space between your characters. Kerning is the space between two individual characters. So I'll put my cursor between the N and the T, click on the kerning, and so you can see it will move the space between two individual characters. This is tracking. So if I highlight that, it's the space between all the characters, not in leading. Kerning is for one between two characters, tracking's for everything. We can increase the vertical scale, the horizontal scale. You can do the baseline shift if it goes up. Maybe I just want part of it to go up. I can do the character rotation. And this is for characters, not the whole body. I can do all caps, small caps, superscript, subscript, strike through, and underline. And these are things that I can do to modify text here. But I'm really concerned with is we're taking letters as shapes. So I'm just going to do an S. I'm going to just change the font up, find an S that speaks to me, and kind of zero it all out. So I have this letter here, and this S, and I like the shape of it. What I'm going to do is say I really like it. I'm going to right click and create outlines. So that takes it from live type into something I can edit and modify. And now it's a shape. It is no longer text, so I can't change this to be a different letter. But since it's now a shape, anything that I can do with shapes before, now I can do. So what I really like is being able to take the direct selection tool, and I can just draw an outline on half of it. And I can select two nodes at a time, or a few, to really take this to be something unique. And I could shift back to my direct selection, and I can copy, rotate, and I can build a composition just by using shapes. As my baseline. Now we don't want this to be about language, and I keep saying this, and I'm going to keep saying it until the cows come home, because I think a lot of students, they think, well, I want to make it, I have a word that I really like, or a phrase, and I want to make it something cool about that, or I want to do my name. I really want to discourage that, because that's easy. We're just using the letters as shapes. And right now I'm just kind of duplicating things out. And I can work on the outside. I could play around with blending modes. can change colors. And I kind of have this, I mean, already after like 2 seconds, I have something kind of really interesting going on. I'm thinking about a value, texture, kind of the focal. So we have these reds that are really strong, but these S's that are kind of fighting this attention here. I really want you to play around with type. Again, this is kind of a short demo, just I think once you get into it, what you can and can't do with it. If you want to know about more type, there's more demos, but this is sort of a quick and dirty what type is, what we can do with it, and how we can have fun. So I hope you encourage playing with this. We'll look a little bit about how to play around type in Photoshop, and I'll see you soon.